all of the honorable examiners and my test advisors. My name is Gregorius Jonathan Arya Krishna, and today I would like to bring my presentation about the analysis of teachers' readiness in teaching the speaking subject at Sudarso Primary School, Batam. So the contents that will be leading us into the presentations are stated below. There are 5 contents that will be explained by the researchers himself. So the first one is the background of the study. The researchers take this research in order to know and to find out, because English language is a mandatory in today's world. So all of the academic institutions, especially school, should be prepared to make their teacher become ready in order to deliver the materials to their students. So before delivering the speaking skills, the researcher found out that the teachers should be ready. So what kind of readiness that they should have? The researchers found out from the related literature and also some books and journals that the readiness are divided into 4. The first one is attitude readiness, which will deal with their motivation and how do they will bring themselves. And then about the motivation readiness, how do they will prepare themselves, how better they themselves in delivering the materials, and knowledge readiness, how do they know well about the material that they will deliver to their students. And the last one is awareness readiness, which means that how well they conduct or how well they holding the classroom. Moving on to the next chapter is about the research purpose. The researcher himself take the purpose is to know and to find out whether the teacher of Yosudarso Primary School is ready or not in teaching the English language to the students. Yeah, the research questions are here. The first research question will be about the preparations of the teachers. We'll seek out for the preparations and their self-preparation before teaching. And the second research question will lead us to the application of their preparation. And of course, inside the classroom. Moving on to the chapter 3 about the methodology. The researchers use the descriptive qualitative research with post sampling method. It was held on March 14, 2022 at Yosudarso Elementary School, Batam, and was held in an offline classroom method. The subject of the research, the first respondent will be the teacher, English teacher that taught about about the advance of English, yeah, and will be marked with blue. Icon, and the second respondent will be the English teacher that teaching about basic English for the lower grade students. Research found that using 3 kinds of methods are possible and also be feasible to research and to get the answer. The first one is about the individual interview, which lead to the preparation of them. The next one is classroom observation, which will proving their preparation inside classroom, and the scale questionnaire will lead about the data supporting for all of the data. Moving on to the risks that become the result of this research. The first one is their preparation before teaching the speaking subject. And the next one is about the application. How do they apply it inside the classroom? The first point is about the teacher's preparation before teaching the speaking subject. Yeah. So from the first point here, the researchers also found out that there are 3 sub-points that included in their preparation. The first one is about their self-preparation, about themselves, how ready they are. And then speaking material preparation and material presentation, which mean that how well they know about the materials and how do they will conduct the materials in front of classroom. And then the last one is about the material testing preparation. How do they will test the material to the student, and they can finally define the final goal about teaching points, stating their motivation readiness and attitude readiness. So this is the result of the interview from the respondents. As we can see,
we lost him.
Yeah, the internet connection. But actually, he is in the next room. In the next room of, yeah, beside your room, Pak Cons. Era, what is it? Era, what is it? Era.
Yeah.
Yeah,
For
yeah.
previous room.
Yeah.
It's actually the worst internet connection there because that's close to my office, right?
Yeah.
I almost cannot connect to the internet in that place
I
because Masido has never
see.
fixed it.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm sorry, all of the lecturers.
Yeah,
Is it clear now?
You can continue.
Okay. I'm sorry for the inconvenience in losing the internet connection, but now I will continue my presentation. So for the second sub-points, the researcher found that the speaking material preparation and material presentation, they should prepare the lesson plan before they introduce the material to the students. And then the next one, both of the respondents also prepare different materials that suitable for every classes. From the basic one, they should prepare the basic one, and from the advanced one, they should prepare the advanced materials. And then for the material preparation, testing preparation, and also the teaching final goal, both of the students and both of the teacher, agree to prepare the pre-test before every test to make the students feel familiar with the test later. And also both of the respondents also agree that the same final goal is to make the student speak English and use English fluently. So the next point is about the application. In this one, this point will prove whether they what had they said before in the interview was really proved or not during the classroom. There are three sub-points also: the application of the teacher self-preparation, and then how do they present the materials, and how do they test the students, and how do they define the final goal in teaching. In these points, stating their awareness readiness and knowledge readiness. And it's also proving their motivation and attitude readiness that they had already said before. Based on the result of the observation, the first sub-points proving that both of the teachers are speaking English consistently inside the classroom. Whether the students are not understand about it, they will explain it carefully using the simple English. And they also conduct an active class through optimism. They always get in contact with the students, they always ask, they always answer the questions, so they will keep the class be conducive. And then about the next sub points about presentation of the prepared materials, both of the teachers explain the lesson plan. They explain how well the material will be done in the classroom, and also they will teach using kind of medias, and the medias itself are differ from the basic class and from the advanced class. The last one is about the speaking material testing and the final goal in teaching. Both of the respondents really prove that they are conducting the pre-test and exercise. This kind of pre-test and exercise will make the student feel active in learning and will make themselves changing knowledge between one student and another in order to make them familiar with the test later. And both of them have the same teaching speaking goal, that make the student to speak English fluently, but of course in their different ways of teaching. About the last chapter, the researcher could conclude that both of the teachers, the respondents, and all of the English teachers of Yusudarso Primary School are ready to teach the English, especially speaking, because they had fulfilled their readiness and they had proving what they had already prepared to the classroom. Everything won't be done with a perfect preparation. That's all about the thesis defense presentation from the researcher. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So now it's time for question and answer session. Miss Patrice, would you mind being the first person?
No problem, Miss Ika.
Thank you.
Thank you for the time, Miss Ika, and good morning, Jojo.
Good morning, Miss.
How are you today?
I'm fine, Miss, and I'm great. Thank you.
All right, great to hear that. First of all, congratulations because you have passed the test evaluation and you are able to defend your thesis here today with us, yeah. And I would like to give some feedback. Do you have your thesis with you? Are you ready with your thesis? So I would like to, oh yeah, another thing is that I also really like your PowerPoint. Yeah, I think they are to the point, but very brief and clear. So good job.
Thank you.
The thing I would like to comment is on the title. Here in the title, you mentioned in teaching the speaking subject. Yeah, why don't you just say in teaching speaking? Why does it have to be in teaching the speaking subject?
Okay, thank you for the question, Miss. I make it because we want to focus on the speaking technique subject from the student. Because at that school, the speaking subject and another subject is different. In a class, they should teach it one by one. So the main focus here is about the speaking subject, because at that time, the researcher, myself observing there, the teacher teaching in a different ways. So if they want to teach listening, they are focusing only on listening. But if they want to teach speaking, they are focusing on speaking itself. So why I say it about speaking subject, because I only searching and finding out about how do they teach the speaking subject, not the other subject like that.
Okay, is it different with the in teaching speaking versus in teaching the speaking subject, in your opinion?
In my opinion, it is a little bit different, because teaching speaking sometimes can be helped while teaching another skills like vocabulary and also pronunciation and also listening. But in teaching speaking subject, they will be focused on just speaking.
So why don't you use the word skill instead of subject?
Because like I have said already, I have said just now, because it is focusing on the subject, because the speaking subject for the first grade, second grade, and until the sixth grade students is different. So myself use the speaking subject rather than the speaking skills.
So in the Yosudarso Primary School, there is a course named speaking.
Yes.
Oh, I see. Okay. All right. And then the next one is about your selection of the school. Yeah. Why did you choose a primary school?
Because from the primary school is the basic of English learning. So the students being taught English for the first time from the primary school. Because what I have already held before is I introduced to English when I was on primary school, and that still belong until today. So that's one I want to know about how do they create from the basic to the advanced, like that.
Did you talk about it in the abstract and in chapter 1, the significance of conducting the research in primary school?
Actually, I'm talking there, but not completely yet. So I make it briefly by just focusing on the why I choose, why I want to know about the teacher's reasons about delivering the speaking. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
speaking subject.
Yeah, but in the abstract, you haven't mentioned anything about the primary school significance. Yeah. So I think in the abstract, you should add in the background not only the importance of the teacher's readiness, but also why are you interested to conduct this research in the primary school level instead of senior high school? Yeah, usually most students use senior high school or university level students, right? So you
Right.
have to include it in the first paragraph of your abstract, yeah?
Okay.
And then the first research question, please correct me if I'm wrong. The first research question, you would like to know what are the preparations that the teacher make?
Yes, correct. Yes.
And then the second research question, you would like to know how they apply those preparations into teaching.
Yes, miss, correct.
Okay, so take a look at your abstract again. Second paragraph, yeah, second paragraph, second line. The first research question seeks the preparation of the English teachers, yeah. I think you have to make it more explicit in terms of the phrasing, yeah. The first research question would like to find what preparations or just copy paste your research questions here. Yeah, because
Okay.
say here is a little bit different with the research question. And also the results that you present here in 1, 2, 3, paragraph 4. Paragraph 4, there are 3 main preparations. That is, that those are answering your research question, but because you did not state it clearly in paragraph 2, so it was a little bit confusing, yeah. And I also could not, I feel like your answer for the second research question here, these 3 main preparations had been applied by the respondent inside the classroom as evidence of their readiness, has not answered the second research question, because the second research question asking about how do they apply it, and here you haven't mentioned about how those preparations were applied by the respondents. Yeah, so you should make sure that you provide the answers here, replace the ones that you already provide here for the second research questions, and go back to paragraph 3, still in the abstract, line 2. The researcher conducted 3 different methods in gathering the data: interview method, observation method, questionnaire method. Do you think interview, observation, and questionnaires are method or techniques?
I think it's better if you use technique, but
Tech.
it's yes, technique.
Okay, not it is better, but because method is the one that you use for your whole research, right?
Yes.
And when you decide on a method, and then there are suitable techniques to gather your data. And in here, interview, observation, and questionnaire function to gather the data that you need. Yeah, so those are techniques, not method. Yeah.
Okay, miss.
Okay, and then moving on to, oh, by the way, in your in your thesis here, you haven't got the Miss Ika's signature as your advisor, yeah. So it's not 90% official. Okay, let's go to the acknowledgement. Acknowledgement, first line, before anything else, I want to thank our God, Jesus Christ. So how if the readers are not Catholic or Christian? Yeah, so you have to consider that as well. Okay, and then, well, there are several grammatical mistakes, but I think you can just, I will send it to you later, and then you can just take a look. Yeah, and the table of contents. Table of contents, please refer to the thesis outline, right? Especially when you mention chapter 1 and then introduction, and they have the like fault. So this is not the correct format for the how you write the chapter 1 and introduction, chapter 2, review of related literature, and so on. So please check again. And moving to chapter 1, page 17. Okay, definition of terms, yeah. Definition of terms. In definition of terms, we usually include the keywords that appear in our title. Yeah, so here you should, of course, mention the teacher's readiness, and then the speaking subject, and then the Yos Sudarso primary school. Okay, motivation, is it mentioned in your title?
Yes, Miss. That could motivate them in being ready to teach and to deliver in the material inside the classroom.
No, I mean in the title. It does not appear in the title, right?
Oh, yes, Miss.
Yeah, so you don't include it there, just include it in chapter 2.
Okay, Miss.
Okay, and you are missing the Yos Sudarso Primary School, yeah? So omit the motivation and add the Yos Sudarso Primary School.
Okay, Miss.
For definition of terms. Okay, moving on to chapter 2. Chapter 2, only the theoretical framework is very, 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 very long. So theoretical framework should ideally just be 2 or maximum 3 paragraphs. Yeah, the first paragraph is talking about how will you theoretically answer your first research question, and then in the second paragraph, the same, but for the second research question. So what are the theories that you use to answer your second research question for the second paragraph, right? So this is way too long. Please make it much, much more brief, yeah? And then you can also add a chart at the end, a chart describing, yeah, for the first research question, what theories do you use? And then for the second research question, what theories do you use? Will make it easier for the reader to understand. Okay. And chapter 3, I would like to ask about the selection of the participants. So what are your consideration of choosing this particular 2 teachers?
Yeah, thank you, Miss. So I chose these 2 teachers because the first one is teaching about the advanced English, and the second one is about the basic of English. So like I have said before, I want to know about how do they form the English language speaking, teaching from the very basic of the grade into the advanced grade. So I choose the basic one and the advanced one, whether to know if they covers all of the knowledge from the basic to the advanced.
Okay, all right. Yeah, you have mentioned it. You have mentioned about it briefly in the purposive sampling. Yeah, but I will still suggest you to elaborate more about the qualification or the criteria of why you choose the the two people, yeah.
All right, miss.
Okay, and then what else? So wait. About the conclusions and recommendations, yeah, I see that you, page 53, you tend to use numbers for all of them, right? So just use paragraph, yeah, describe the conclusion in the form of paragraphs. And also for the conclusions, I think it's still too long. Conclusion should be like an abstract, yeah. So it contains a little bit from the very beginning up to the end, okay? And then for the recommendation as well, you can, you don't need to use the word for here, so just start with the teachers, but also make it specific which teachers, yeah, teachers where or what kind of teachers, because if you only say teachers, then it's very general, yeah. And the same feature for the future researcher, just omit the for. Okay, I think that's all. So thank you very much, Jojo. I will give the screen back to Miss Ika.
Thank you so much, miss.
Yeah, thank you so much, Miss Beatrice, for valuable feedback, right? And also, yeah, some suggestions. Thank you. Okay, so Pak Gons, time is yours.
Okay, thank you, Bu Ika. Can I please be allowed to share my screen?
Yeah, sure.
Ika?
Jojo, you okay?
Okay, so Mas, can you please pronounce this word? Can you see?
Yes, sir.
This one?
Examiners.
Do you see any mistake in your pronunciation?
I guess when the first time I said examiners.
Yeah, so you can actually go back later to your pronunciation dictionary. You can go online. Okay, I also see a lot of use of capitalization in your PPTs. I don't know why you use a lot of capitalizations in your PPT.
Yes.
Can you show us your first PPT, first PowerPoint slide, your first slide?
Okay,
your first slide. First slide. Okay. All right. So I don't know. Is D should be in the capital letter? An article.
This one, sir. The analysis.
This the speaking subject. The speaking subject.
Oh yes, sir. This one.
Yeah. So you need to check. Number two. Did you define speaking subject in your definition of terms? Speaking subjects. Did you define it? What is a speaking subject in your context?
Yes, sir.
Can you show me? So it is in your thesis you define, yeah? You define speaking subject. Because it's normally, speaking is not a subject, it is a skill. But then you are insistent that in your case, it is a subject. So on what page did you define speaking subject?
It's on page 19, sir.
19, okay, page 19. Okay, while I'm searching the page, I don't know, it's all right, page, okay, page 19. Where is speaking? Oh, I cannot find page 19. It's page, yeah, but this one is actually speaking skill, right? Page 19, but not speaking subject. Can you stop sharing screen?
Sure, sir.
So page 19, it is actually speaking skill, right? Not speaking subject. Is it?
Yes, sir.
So I mean, what I wanted to see is actually the definition of speaking subject here in the definition of terms here, because speaking subject is understood differently in your context as you explained it earlier when Bu Patrice asked you. So I think you need to actually include the definition of speaking subject here so the readers can actually understand what is meant by speaking subject. Okay, now let us go back to the front. Let us go back to the abstract. All right, so can you see the first sentence here? During the development of the current day society. What do you mean by current day society?
That
Is it
means
English?
Yes, sir. The society of today's.
Oh, is it current society or today's society? Current society or today's society, right? But not current day society, right?
Okay, sir.
So I think one of the important points you need to remember in academic writing is actually to be economical with words. Yeah.
Okay, sir.
Like this one, during the development of current society, the English is very important for speaking. The use of English, especially as dimension, is currently developing. So is the use of English currently developing?
Yes, sir. In every
Penggunaan bahasa Inggris
point.
sekarang berkembang secara cepat. To deal with it, the role of English as teacher becomes very important because they have to teach and help. An English teacher, what does they refer to?
To the English teacher themselves, sir.
But English teacher here is actually singular, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
And then is it a sentence or a clause? A dependent clause? An independent or dependent clause, this one?
Which one, sir? The day or the sentence?
Because they have to teach and full stop.
It's a clause, sir.
Yeah, so you shouldn't have it as an independent sentence, yeah?
Okay, sir.
So what do you mean by this research aims to deliver a proper and suitable answer to the research question? What do you mean by, is your research aiming to deliver a proper and suitable answer? What do you mean by to deliver a proper and suitable answer?
Actually, I want to make a sentence about like this. It want to answer directly about the first and second research questions. But I use the other sentence.
Okay. So I think you need to be careful, not deliver. You need to avoid proper, suitable. This is excessive. And I think you will be in trouble when you use too many words. Actually, you can be more economical.
Correct,
Yeah,
sir.
in writing, you need to be more economical. And then that which grammatical. The first question, 6, the preparation. What do you mean by 6, the preparation?
6, the preparation found out, sir. Another form of found out.
Why didn't you say seek to find or attempted to find, aim to find, or to determine or to examine? But seeks the preparation is not actually a right word.
Right,
Seeks,
sir.
okay, you have here. All right, and here also you have these two independent sentences combined by a comma, which you should avoid.
All right, sir.
All right, now you have here in your, not here, but in your PPT, here I didn't see preparations are teachers' preparation before teaching. Okay, so in your PPT, you mentioned 2 kinds of preparations, like motivation and attitude, right? Is it correct?
Yes, sir.
Can you
Okay.
show me your PPT again?
Okay, sir.
Can you show me your PPT again so I can?
This, sir.
Okay, so okay. You go back to the first one that you showed. All right. Okay. This one is all right.
Oh, this one.
So what is the
Okay.
finding?
This one.
First, yeah. Okay, you have readiness, attitude readiness, and motivation readiness. Did you mention this in your abstract and in your finding? You have this in your findings. You have attitude readiness, motivation readiness, knowledge readiness, awareness readiness. Did you categorize the readiness
Yes,
in
sir.
your findings into these 4?
Yes.
What page?
In the result from page, for the attitude readiness and motivation readiness, it's on the first point about the preparation by the teacher, sir. It's on page. I'm sorry.
What page?
Let me check it first. It's about on page 38, sir. 38. And, yes.
Okay, let me try to see. Page 38. Oh, doesn't take me to that page. Okay, but you have not actually discussed attitude in your literature review. Did you discuss attitude?
Actually,
in your literature
yes,
review?
sir.
Did you
Yes.
discuss attitude?
In the literature, I
Yes.
discuss about both of them, all of them. Attitude readiness, motivation readiness, knowledge, and awareness.
Yeah,
Like
can you
one of them.
can you see show me in the literature review, because you discussed very little.
On page 21, sir.
Page
21, teacher's readiness.
Yeah, but then it is not enough when you claim here motivation deals with teachers' self-preparation. But what is motivation? Motivation is actually more than that. When you mention here, when you say motivation, you have to explain what is motivation. Yeah, like for example,
Yes,
can you stop by your screen sharing? I'd like to share my screen. So here it is not enough. You just quoted Zurianti. Like for example, deals with teacher self-preparation. What is self-preparation?
Self-preparation is how they feel themselves better, or how they prepare themselves inside themselves. Sorry, like preparing their motivation, their mindset before teaching, sir.
But motivation is something to do, for example, intrinsic, extrinsic, integrative, what else? Instrumental motivation. You have to have a kind of comprehensive analysis or discussion of motivation if you want to claim that they have the motivation. For example, they are motivationally prepared in terms of the intrinsic and extrinsic motivation. Extrinsic means, for example, something from outside, they prepare the material, they want to deliver, but intrinsic. But it is not actually very detailed in your analysis, like knowledge readiness and then attitude readiness. Attitude is something to do with your whether or not you see something positively or negatively. Sense of teaching. Sense of conduct class activities. But what is sense of teaching? So I think it's very, these people here actually have not discussed all the elements that you mentioned. For example, attitude readiness. What is attitude readiness? Attitude readiness is the preparation in terms of reducing the negative attitude, the negative views or feelings, and try to see things positively. And then you cite other theories. But I think here is not enough. Yeah, it is not enough covered in your chapter 2. So I think you need to be careful when you say motivation readiness. That means they are extrinsically ready. And what is the intrinsic element? What is the extrinsic element? And awareness readiness is like the sensitiveness when they're committed to telling themselves that they want to be aware of what is needed to be prepared before teaching. Yeah, the awareness you need to, and then knowledge readiness, materials. Okay, knowledge readiness is quite clear. Okay, but then the other three, I think it is not very clear. That is my point. I think it's not very clear. Okay, and then let us go back to your abstract, Mas. I'm aware
Yes,
that I
sir.
have 7 minutes to go. So I think you have an ability to write a lot. That is my impression, isn't it?
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
Mas. But I think that can be a problem in academic writing, because in academic writing we have to be economical in writing. You know.
Yes, sir. Right, sir.
Like this one, yeah, just like this one. Like this, very long sentence, yeah. To deal with the presentation and academic institutions should be ready to make the students understand the use of English language, so then they could be readier in dealing with the use of English language. Things like this. So we have to be careful that we do not use the words excessively. We have to be economical. What does it mean is that we use only the words that we need. Like this, in today. People in the world should be able to speak. Says who? People in the world. You mean everybody in the world?
Yes, sir. That one.
No, Mas. No, this in academic writing we cannot do like this. You have to be what we call is hedging. You know? Hedging is a technique in academic writing where we avoid overgeneralization, or we avoid using sweeping statements. That means we should be careful that we do not make a conclusion unless we have data to support. That's why it's safe to say most of the people today in this world, the majority of the people, because you cannot, for example, people in where I come from, Flores, they don't need English. Yeah, in the village, what for? They just need plow, they need spade, they need some money, they need grain, they want to plant rice and things like that. They don't need English at all. So if you say people in the world, that means you are over generalizing.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
All right, sir. All right, sir.
And then I don't know why. Now here you mentioned at a higher level of institutions of education, but your study is actually not in a higher educational level, but in the primary educational level. So why you cite this one becoming a big part? Why?
Because I want to bridge. Yes, I want to bridge the movements, sir, from the first one. They know about English, they learn about English, until later when they are attending the higher level, they could be familiar with English like this.
Oh yeah, but okay, from the basic level improvement, attending the but this is like basic to higher level of education or higher level institutions of education. Higher level. What do you mean by higher level? You mean SMR? You mean SMP? Or you mean a high university?
It's like bridging from the how do I say, the education institutions. Like
okay,
from the,
so I think you need to yeah, okay, Mas. Okay,
yeah.
I can see your point. Okay, but you need to gradually, be careful when you say like that, a higher level of education, higher level institutions on high level. I think institution is actually sort of like tricky. You might need to draw high level of education is better, but higher institution is normally like university, higher institution, yeah, education institution. I think it needs to be. And then redundant, I don't know why. The importance of speaking English is the importance of being able to speak English is significantly increase. I think you have importance significantly increase. Yeah, you need to be more economical. Some other notes there. Okay, now how many studies did you discuss in relation to the teaching of English in primary school?
Sorry, sir. Can you repeat the question?
How many studies or how many studies did you discuss in the background that led you to your research question?
For the studies that I have studied, there are approximately 5 to 6. Sir. But the first one that I studied is about the book from Hadianto, 2013, that leads me to know about the teacher's readiness.
Yeah, but then I think you need to discuss some studies as well, leading to this part. Some studies in the elementary school in relation to English language learning, particularly speaking. So we can understand the need, yeah? We can see the need why you... So here, I think you need to add some studies in Indonesia about the teaching of English in primary school, okay?
Okay, sir.
And this one is very long, yeah, Mas. So from here to here, so it's very hard to understand. Yeah. Okay. Is that clear?
Clear enough, sir.
Yeah, motivation you need to discuss, because if you claim it to be an important part of your finding, then you have to actually discuss sufficient enough in your chapter 2 about motivation and attitudes. Yeah, otherwise you shouldn't claim. I think you haven't actually covered them. Okay, so what is a case study, Mas?
The case study is descriptive qualitative research, sir.
Oh, it is a descriptive qualitative, but what is a case study?
Sorry? Case study?
What is a case study?
What is case study is how do we deliver the thesis and how do we deliver the answer by describing it into some specific parts.
Okay, you have here, for example, stated by the qualitative scholar, blah, 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 qualitative research is to explore and deeper social phenomena. Okay, but qualitative research is actually very broad, and under the qualitative, you choose case study, right?
Yes, sir.
But I have not seen your definition and explanation of case study in the method. Have you?
I'm making the case study become like selecting both of them, sir, like looking at the classroom directly like this.
Yeah, but you need to mention here you adopt your qualitative research, and the method you use is actually a case study method. Okay.
Okay, sir.
But you have not. So here, if you don't know why all of a sudden in your abstract you mentioned case study, but you have not actually covered case study. You did discuss a little bit about qualitative research, but part of qualitative research is like you have qualitative, you have document analysis, etc., etc. All right, phenomenological, etc. But I think you need to discuss here qualitative case study, so we understand what is case study. Okay.
Okay, sir.
And then the sampling, what kind of sampling did you use?
Purposive sampling method, sir, by selecting just 2 respondents from the population.
Okay, what is a purposive sampling? Have you defined here? Have you cited an author? Not yet, right? Define. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. What is purposive sampling? You need to define. In academic writing, you mention something and you try to use an expert, their opinion to support your view. Okay.
Okay, sir.
All right, I think because of the time, I have another class. I have a class at 11. I have to rest for a while. So I think I can end my question now. Some of the things I think you can read in my comments, also in your thesis. And I think Bu Patris also has done it. So I think I will send it to you, yeah? Okay, so maybe I'll give it back to Bu Ika.
Okay, thank you so much, Pak.